The 8 logical inferences that prove the existence of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. 1. Everything has a source, and the source is the greatest creator. The Amazon that runs across South America, the bold and flowing Nile, the surging Yangtze, and the roaring Mississippi all have their headstreams. Benguela cold current, Peru cold current, Mozambique warm current, and Guyana warm current all have their sources. Rio de Janeiro London Airline, Los Angeles Paris Airline, Honolulu Manila Airline, and Paris Colombo Airline all have their starting points. All things created by man have come into being from a certain source. All tools that we use, including pencils, needles, spades, spoons, pliers, automobiles, computers, printers, cameras, and machine tools, and all daily articles, including musical instruments, chess, painting and calligraphy, watches, alarm clocks, desks, chairs, and wooden stool, shoes, stockings, clothes, caps, cups, thermoses, reading lamps, telephones, and refrigerators and TV sets have an origin, and obviously they don't come from none. The cats, dogs, goats, and pigs we raise at home all have an origin. Even peony, peaches, pears, and almonds can be traced back to their origins. Music, characters, arts, medicines, theories, methods, magic arts, and alchemy, axioms, and theorems all have a source. White Europeans, black African, yellow Asian, Arabians, and Brazilians are all descendants of their ancestors. The towering Himalayas, the fertile and vast Nile Delta, the extensive Amazon alluvial plain, the silver and white-wrapped Antarctica all have formed from Earth transition. Everything has its origin. What about the Earth, the solar system, and the universe? They all have their origins. Since everything has an origin, there must be a primordial origin. And this primordial origin is the greatest creator. 2. Everything is in motion, and the primordial motive power comes from the greatest creator. The mountains are revolving, the wind is roaring, the river is flowing, and the springs are welling, the clouds are drifting, the earth is shaking, the ocean is surging, and the flames are raging. The plants are growing and the flowers are fading, the bacteria are multiplying and the insects are bustling, cattle and goats are grazing and the lions and tigers are running, the hens are laying eggs and the larks are singing. The electrons are spinning and the molecules are moving, the particles are discharging and electric waves are rushing, infrareds are radiating and gamma rays are thrusting, electromagnetic waves and photons are flashing. The heart is pounding and the blood is circulating, the skin is breathing and the stomach is wriggling, the nerves are sensing and the hair is growing, the thinking is connecting and the mind is thinking. Sitting on the earth we are traveling hundreds of thousands of miles every day. In an instant, tens of thousands of years have flit past. The sun, the moon, the stars, and the lightning are all speeding fast by. In the morning your hair is still black, but by the dusk it has turned gray. Everything is moving, and moving comes from pushing and pulling. Where does the primordial motive power come from? How is moving possible without the greatest creator? 3. Everything has an image, the nature of the image is energy, and the core of the energy is the greatest creator. Image is picture. It refers to the size, shape, feature, and structure of an object. Image is the dividing line to distinguish one substance from another and to distinguish one object from another. That microorganisms and insects, grass and trees, man and other animals, mountains and rivers are different from each other is because they each have different images. Everything has a unique image different from each other. Then how has image come into being? The substrate of image is gene structure. The gene structure determines the image. That water and oil has different images is due to different molecule structures, namely different gene structures. However, any structure would only be a phantom without the participation of energy. Take, for example, the building of a house. We should first conceive the structure of this house in our mind. For very complicated houses, structural representation may also be needed. However, without the input of mechanical and human energy, the house will always remain a phantom. Only with the investment of human and material energy will the structure conceived in our mind materialize into the real house. A seed will turn into a plant only after it has absorbed the nutrients, moisture, and the heat energy and light energy of the sun. The fertilized egg in the womb of a mother will develop into a normal animal only after it has been continuously supplied with nutrition and energy. A bulb will give off light only after it has been input electric energy. A mound will become a high mountain only after it has received the energy of a continuously revolving earth. A small river will become a great surging, impetuous river only after it has marshaled the energy of thousands of streams. Then where does the energy come from? Let's trace the sources. A sapling must obtain moisture to unfurl its leaves and grow. The moisture absorbed by the root system mainly comes from the saturation of rainwater. Where does rainwater come from? It comes from the vapor-carried clouds in the sky. Where does cloud come from? The cloud comes from the ocean carried by the wind. Where does wind come from? Wind is formed because of the convection of the cold and warm currents on Earth. How are warm and cold currents formed? They are formed by the continuous heat loss and heat acquisition of the Earth's surface when the Earth rotates, not considering such factors as the gravitation of the moon. Then how does the Earth begin rotation? What power has caused it to rotate continuously? According to the law of the conservation of energy, there could be no perpetual motion machines in the universe. The motion and change of any object should be propelled by another or more energy. Without energy, there would be no changes and motions of things. Then the motion and changes of everything must in the final analysis be propelled by a primordial energy not controlled by other energies, and this primordial power is the greatest creator. The rotation of the Earth is propelled by the energy of the greatest creator, and after the Earth is in motion, it will be driven by the other planets in the solar system, including comets. For cause and effect are interconnected, every effect has its cause, and the greatest creator is the primordial cause of all causes. We have all experienced headaches. Everyone may have a different cause for headache, but every headache has a cause, and there could be no headache without a reason. Everyone becomes sick because of some causes, no matter what kind of disease he has contracted. There are also causes for congenital diseases. No one, I think, will disagree in this matter. In the same way, typhoon, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, sandstorms, and SARS virus all have their causes for occurrence. World War II, the Crusades, and wars in the Middle East all have their causes. They would not take place without any causes. The massacre of the Jewish people in World War II, the collision of Titanic with icebergs, the attack against America's World Trade Center, the disintegration of Soviet Union, the return of Hong Kong to China, and the overthrow of Saddam regime. All these have happened with their own causes. Aren't there causes for the Earth orbiting around the Sun and the Moon orbiting around the Earth? Aren't there causes for airplane crash, train collision, collapse of houses, and flooding of rivers? Aren't there causes for being the object of vituperation, for broken family, for imprisonment and decapitation, and for unnatural death? Aren't there causes for tumefaction on the head and purulence on the feet, deafness and blindness and disability? Aren't there causes for tigers and leopards capturing of deer, for birds catching of insects, for the slaughtering of pigs, and for man's sudden misfortunes? Aren't there causes for the decline of the early Maya civilization, Greek civilization, Egyptian civilization, ancient Roman civilization, Syrian civilization, Persian civilization, and Babylonian civilization? Aren't there causes for the rise of American civilization? The following phenomena I listed in the chapter of Inevitability of Lifechanyuan all have their causes. The rise of wind and waves, the ebb and flow, the rising of clouds and falling of rain, the snow and mist, thunder and lightning, tsunami, typhoon, volcanic eruption, earthquake and fault, flooding, sandstorm, disappearance of birds, morning and evening glows, rainbows, solar and lunar eclipses, seasonal changes, migration of birds, hibernation of frogs and snakes, morning songs of larks, roosters crowing, plague of insects, multiplication of bacteria, the birth in the spring and growth in the Summer, the collection in autumn and storage in winter, the entwining of vines, the fragrance of osmanthus, the blooming and withering of flowers, the sun-facing feature of sunflowers, the continental drift, the disintegration of Earth's crust, the melting of snow, the disappearance of islands, the river's change of course, the landslide, the rise of peaks, the weathering of rocks, the ravines, the movement of sand dunes, the spring between the rocks, the waterfalls, the river's transport of sand, the appearance of delta, and so on. All phenomena or results, whether in the sky or under the sun, have their causes. We can never find a phenomenon or result that does not have a cause. If life forms on Earth owe their existence to the Earth and the solar system, and solar system owes its existence to the Milky Way galaxy, then what is the reason for the birth of the Milky Way galaxy? If we track further, we will understand that at the beginning of the birth of the universe, there must be a primordial cause, the cause of the cause, the greatest creator. 5. Everything has a purpose for its existence, and the ultimate purpose is the greatest creator. The purpose of microorganism is to enrich soil and corrode objects. The purpose of the soil is to nurture plants. The purpose of plants is to provide food for insects and other animals, and the overall purpose of animals and plants is to serve mankind. Then what is the purpose of mankind? Everything that man makes has a purpose. Automobiles provide transportation, telephones provide communications, clothes keep us from cold, houses offer space for sheltering, and man has created tens of thousands of articles to serve mankind. Then what is the purpose of man? The purpose of the entire Milky Way galaxy is to serve several special stellar systems, one of them being the solar system. The purpose of the solar system is to provide service for the Earth, and the Earth has only one purpose: to serve mankind. Then whom does mankind serve? The sun, the moon, the oceans, the air, the land, and the ozonosphere have all existed to serve mankind. Even the ultimate purpose of the existence of flies, mosquitoes, and rats is to serve mankind. The killing viruses are also for the purpose of maintaining the balance of mankind. Then what is the purpose of mankind? Everything in the material world is for the purpose of serving mankind. Then are we perfectly justified to enjoy all this as a supreme being? Is there no purpose for our existence? Don't we humans have a purpose in keeping cattle, horses, pigs, goats, chickens, and ducks? Don't we have a purpose in planting crops? Don't we have any purpose in making planes, atomic bombs, and aircrafts? All man's activities have definite purposes, and everything in the universe has its purpose for existence. Is man the only animal that does not have a purpose? Man's existence also has a purpose: to serve the greatest creator. Why cannot we realize that our existence is to serve the greatest creator? This is just like the bees that we raise fail to realize that they are serving us unless they have the thinking of man. We won't know the purpose of man's existence unless we have the thinking of the greatest creator. In the history of man, only Jesus and Sakyamuni knew the greatest creator. Muhammad and Lao Tzu knew a little about the greatest creator. I will tell you clearly that the purpose of man's existence is to serve the greatest creator. The ultimate purpose of all existences in the universe is for the greatest creator. After knowing the ultimate purpose of man's existence, our life will have a purpose: to serve the greatest creator. Exist for the greatest creator, and we will have a promising future. Deviate from the greatest creator, and our future will be a total darkness. 6. Life is graded, and the highest grade is the greatest creator. The universe exists for order, and the nature of order is grade. Take stone for example. Diamond has a very high grade, and the stone that can be broken off with hands is lowly graded. Ruby and saffron are higher than opal. Opal is higher than topaz and spinel. Topaz and spinel are higher than aquamarine and zircon. The other stones in order of descending grades include emerald, beryl, tourmaline, crystal, garnet, olivine, jade, woodstone, nephrite, opal, moonstone, sunstone, agaphite, serpentine jade, malachite, coral, tuba stone, granite, bluestone, and ordinary pebbles. Take man for example. Man can be ranked in 18 gradients according to the percentage content of spiritual nature in human nature. Jesus, Muhammad, Sakyamuni, and Lao Tzu ranked the first. St. Peter and St. Paul and Tang monk were classed as the second. China's Taoist master Zhang Sanfeng ranked the third. Beethoven, Bach, Rodin, Strauss, and Einstein came in the fourth place. Jiangxia, Zhongliang, and Zhu Guliang were in the fifth order. The rustic farmers with unsophisticated folkway and unpolluted by commercial society came sixth. Washington and Lincoln came in the seventh order. Nightingale ranked the eighth. Shakespeare, Lu Xun, and Hu Shi were in the ninth place. Emperors Tang Taizong and Kang Xi in the 10th place. Characters in novels like Liang Shanbua, Zhu Yingtai, Romeo and Juliet were in the 11th place. The majority of common people fell into category 12. The majority of officials in China at various government levels since ancient times stood in slot no. 13. Grandet, Shylock, and mercenary merchants were in the 14th category. Cynic people and hedonists belonged to category 15. Selfish people without social morality came 16th in the list. People living a muddle-headed existence were in the 17th place. Those confusing right and wrong came last. Take life for example. In the ascending order, life can be categorized as life in lava and raging fire, life in ice-clad world, life in eternal darkness, life in rocks, life in soil, life in water, life in the air, plants, insects, terrestrial animals, flying animals. Domesticated animals, dogs, man in human world, man in the 1,000-year world, celestial being in the 10,000-year world, Buddha in the Elysium world, God in heaven, the greatest creator in the zero world. Life is graded. There must be the highest grade among all. The highest grade of life is the greatest creator. 7. There is an order in everything, and the greatest creator is the framer of orders. Human society is ordered. A country has only one president, and this means order. With two presidents, the country is bound to break up into two states. The company formed by incorporation of 10 companies needs only one general manager, not 10. Order means that the lower level should be subordinate to the higher level, the employees should be employer, the criminals should be controlled by the police, and that license is needed for running business. Constitution and laws are made by man, but this does not mean that order is made by man. When man formulates order, the order should conform to the macro order of human nature and basic social norms. For example, however intelligent and wise the people are, they cannot formulate an order with two presidents in the country. Because the system of a group with one leader is the order created by greatest creator, and man cannot deviate from this order. A swarm of ants, a brood of bees, a flock of goats, a pack of wolves, a family, and a clan can have only one head. The order of fetus, infancy, juvenile, youth, the prime of life, old age, and death is made by the greatest creator, and man cannot deviate from it. One must eat when hungry and must excrete after eating, and this is an order uncontrollable by man. Everyone has his path of life, namely lifestyle program, which cannot to be affected by man's will. All parents hope that their children will stand out brilliantly and bring glory to their ancestry. However, hopes are mere hopes. Children can only live according to their own lifestyle program. This is why some children have achieved a lot, but some other children are not very successful. If one's will can determine one's own path of life, pigs and dogs would change into man and everyone could become an emperor. The majority of people, especially the powerful and wealthy people, wish to live forever. But wish is just a wish, death is unavoidable because this is the order made by the greatest creator. If the former generations continue to live, the later generations would have no chance of survival. Men are equal in terms of death, and this is the order. The moon revolves around the earth moves around the sun and rotates, the solar system revolves around the Milky Way galaxy, this is the order. Dragons beget dragons and phoenixes beget phoenixes, while the mice's children will learn the skill of hole digging, this is the order. All those who hold the greatest creator in awe and live according the order made by him can enter the higher order of life space, while those who despise the greatest creator and violate the order made by him would certainly descend to the lower order of life space. This is also the order. Everything has an order. Who has made the order then? Was it made by man's ancestor? Was it made by the emperors of certain dynasty? Was it made by a dinosaur? Certainly not. Who but the greatest creator is capable of making orders? 8. There is telepathy between everything, and the terminal of the telepathy is the greatest creator. Everything in the universe is interconnected. The means of connection is telepathy. Telepathy is the reception of and response of an object to the external stimuli. There are two kinds of external stimuli. One is dominant stimulus and the other is recessive stimulus. Dominant stimuli mainly take place by way of shapes, odors, colors, sound, heat and cold, softness and hardness, and light and shade. Recessive stimuli take place mainly via sound waves, electromagnetic waves, thought waves, biological waves, same frequency waves, and radiation. For example, we will feel pleased to see beautiful birds, blue sky, white clouds, handsome people, and we will feel horrified to see caterpillars, snakes, gathering black clouds, and monsters in terror films. We will feel intoxicated to see sexy girls in miniskirts, and we will feel disgusted to see things we dislike. All these are different telepathies induced by stimuli of forms. We will feel good appetite to smell the aroma wafted from the kitchen. We will feel nausea to smell the stinking odor from the washroom. We will feel refreshed to smell the fragrance of flowers, and we will feel disgusted to smell the vomit of a drunken person. All these are the telepathies to the smell. We will feel happy to see the colorful flowers. We will feel anxious to see the scene of murder with pools of blood. We will feel cool to see blue colors, and we will feel warm to see the color of fire. All these are telepathies to colors. Melodious songs, touching rhythms, and affectionate whispers of the loved one can provoke surging thoughts or emotions, while the friction of shovels on cement ground, funeral music, and malicious shouting will cause palpitation, unrest, and depression. All these are telepathies to sounds. The muscles contract in cold weather, the sweat gland distends in sultriness, we feel comfortable lying on Simus bed, we feel uncomfortable lying on stony surface, we will be wild with joy in bright spring days, we feel frightened in darkness. All these are different telepathies to warmth, cold, softness, hardness, and darkness and light. The above is a discussion of dominant external stimuli. The telepathies to recessive external stimuli are as follows. Sometimes people will inexplicably feel willies and unrest, and this is telepathy to the thought wave and biological wave of those related to them. From the perspective of super time and space, some accidents usually emit a same frequency wave to stimulate people's nerves before the occurrence. At this time, man will feel the influence, just like many animals that are sensitive to the geomagnetic waves prior to the earthquake. The fish will keep leaping out of water, the dogs will bark fiercely, horses will neigh, rats will run about, and roosters will kyotle. Sometimes our ears and faces will flush, and this is because we are warned of the information related to ourselves, just like the stimulus to the arthritis patients caused by the coming cold current. In Outlaws of the Marsh, the incident in the snowy mountain god temple experienced by Lin Chong, the instructor of the 800,000-strong imperial army, seems to be a coincidence, but actually it reflects telepathy to future happenings. Without this telepathy, he would have been buried in the fire. The hero of Robinson Crusoe had the following description: having thus settled my affairs, sold my cargo, and turned all my effects into good bills of exchange, my next difficulty was which way to go to England. I had been accustomed enough to the sea, and yet I had a strange aversion to go to England by the sea at that time, and yet I could give no reason for it, yet the difficulty increased upon me so much that though I had once shipped my baggage in order to go, yet I altered my mind, and that not once but 2 or 3 times. It is true I had been very unfortunate by sea, and this might be one of the reasons, but let no man slight the strong impulses of his own thoughts in cases of such moment. 2 of the ships which I had singled out to go in I mean more particularly singled out than any other, having put my things on board one of them, and in the other having agreed with the captain. I say 2 of these ships miscarried. One was taken by the Algerines, and the other was lost on the start, near Torbay, and all the people drowned except 3, so that in either of those vessels I had been made miserable. This is telepathy to recessive stimuli, without which Robinson would have been buried under sea. Subconscious behavior is an inexplicable behavior of telepathy which has saved hundreds of millions of lives and at the same time caused tens of thousands of people to step on the road to death. Someone has conducted research on biological telepathy. In the experiment, he divided the 50 snails into 25 pairs. Each pair was separated from the other pairs. After some time, the same letter was written on the shells of each pair of snails, and one of the pair was brought to America, the other still remained in Paris. Later, at a given time, the snail staying in Paris was stimulated with electric current. At the same time, the one brought to American also exhibited the same reaction of electric current. The snail in Paris exhibited reaction to electric current reaction because it had been stimulated by electric current. The snail in America was not stimulated by electric current, but why did they also exhibit reaction to the stimulus of electric current? It is because it has a power of telepathy, which is a subconscious behavior. Doves, dogs, and horses have telepathy for the tracks of their masters. After the doves are taken to a different place and are released from hands, they can locate and return to their master's home. Place a dog inside a box and take it to another place hundreds of miles away, it can still return to its original home without mistake. An animal trainer Dudorov can use his thought to cue the animal to perform. One time he mentally ordered his dog, go to the piano and knock at the white keys with your paws. It is said that the dog did as he was instructed. Another time, in accordance with request of the audience, he made 2 lions who had lived together harmoniously for 3 years fight with each other. Once a researcher Kerensky said to the animal trainer, "Since you can use your thought to hint, please cue me to perform an act with your thought." He agreed and made the researcher sit there motionless. Then he took a slip of paper and scribbled something on it. He covered the paper with his hand and looked at the researcher, who had felt nothing special but involuntarily scratched the back of his right ear. Before the researcher had put down his hands, the trainer handed the paper to him and the researcher saw the letters on the paper, "Scratch the back of your right ear." It can be seen from the above example that the researcher involuntarily scratched the back of his right ear without feeling anything special. This action seems to be the personal behavior of the researcher, but he had faithfully performed the instruction of the trainer. The world-renowned psychic Wolf Messing was once having dinner with the celebrated founder of psychology Freud at Einstein's residence in Vienna. During the meal, Freud secretly conducted an experiment. He did not utter a word, but only mentally gave Messing an instruction requesting him to go to the bathroom cupboard and pick up some tweezers. Return to Albert Einstein, pull out from his luxuriant mustache 3 hairs. After the silent instruction, Professor Freud continued with his dinner, talking and smiling with the host as usual. Messing seemed to have noticed nothing. But when the coffee was brought to them, Mason immediately stood up, went to the bathroom cupboard and picked up some tweezers, walked near Einstein, bended over him, slightly raised Einstein's obedient chins, and carefully pulled out from his luxuriant mustache 3 hairs and placed them before Freud. There are countless such examples. All the living creatures in the boundless universe are all subconsciously performing one after another instruction. Our next move and next word are seemingly personal behaviors, but actually they are telepathy and reaction to the dominant and recessive external stimuli. Then whose instructions are we following? In accordance with the order of life, the lower order of life has telepathy for the instructions of the higher order of life. The low-energy life has telepathy for the instructions of the high-energy life. Namely, plants receive the instructions of animals, man, celestial being, Buddha, and God. Animals receive the order of man, celestial being, Buddha, and God. Man receives the instructions of celestial being, Buddha, and God. Celestial being receives the instructions of Buddha and God. Buddha receives the instruction of God. Whose instructions does God receive? God receives the instructions of the greatest creator. In the final analysis, the terminal of telepathy is the greatest creator. I am sure you will cast away your suspicion over the existence of the greatest creator after reading the above 40 evidences and 8 logical inferences. Since the greatest creator is there, what characteristics does the greatest creator have? _upward. _back previous. _forward next. You are not authorized to reply. Please log in or register.